What's remarkable about Deborah's story is that she didn't have a lot of money to start with, and she didn't have the financial background, but she was determined to succeed, and she took consistent action towards her goal. She's not a genius or a financial wizard. She's just an ordinary person like me and you who took control over her financial life. So, what can we learn from Deborah's story? Firstly, it's the power of starting small, and then you want to be consistent. Deborah didn't try to invest a lot of money at all in one situation. She started with what she had, gradually built up her portfolio the same way I've been following Bitcoin for over a decade. And I can tell you that there's an approximation of the end of quarter one, end of quarter two, you pull out a Bitcoin or you put in the Bitcoin. And at the end of quarter three, beginning of quarter four, you pull out a Bitcoin and you're guaranteed to have the least quantity of losses, versus situations where you're riding a wave to the peak and then you forget to check your stock and then that mug just plummeted 15K. You just lost a whole bunch of money there because you were there when it was at 90K. So what you could have got, you didn't get because you left it in there thinking, oh, it's going to run to 100K. Nah, these big boys, they're going to pull their money out. They're going to pull their money out for Christmas. That's going to make the value of the stock go down. They're going to put it back, though. Because any money that's invested in a stock before the end of quarter four is not going to be taxed. It's considered a financial loss. It's an investment into the company, into the business. Also, Deborah didn't rely on others to manage her investments. So she didn't just have third-party people that she paid to make the situation happen. She took the time to learn and understand the process herself. And by transforming $200 into serious wealth requiring the strategic planning, she had the discipline in investments and a focus on opportunities that could yield higher returns, which means she was always looking into better ways to make her stocks become more successful for her. Now, when you're in these particular stock markets, one of the things that I've told you guys plenty of times before, what you want to do is you want to be able to define your objectives. You want to determine what is serious wealth and what does that mean to you? Because serious wealth is an individual that's making like $75,000 a year and they don't have to work. Serious wealth could be somebody that's making $300,000 a year and they don't have to work. Serious wealth could be Donald Trump money. That's serious wealth on anybody's level. Serious wealth is Elon Musk money. But for the average individual, like, are you just trying to pull yourself out of a financial strain and then work your way into a higher scenario, or are you trying to put yourself into a different financial standard of living that would give you a lot more financial freedom? Because if that's what you're trying to do, then by all means, you're going to be aiming for a higher goal. It is a certain amount of money that is reasonably considered financial independence when you're not living above your means, or the ability to invest further. Setting specific and measurable goals will guide your investment decisions. You want to be able to track your income and expenses. Before investing, ensure that you have a clear understanding of your financial situation. You want to make sure that you're not taking your rent money and rolling the dice on a stock. You want to make sure that you're not putting a bunch of effort into investing into something that is definitely going to fail. So you want to be able to identify areas where you can cut necessary expenses to free up more funds for investment. I told you guys before about emergency funds. If you consider setting aside a small portion of your funds for emergencies to avoid dipping into your investments unexpectedly, that's where I told you guys about putting your money into the checking accounts with the high interest percentages in there. Because if you have a large number of checking accounts there with, $10,000, $20,000 in it that is gaining interest for you, you can take the interest off the top and you can use that interest to add to your investment portfolio. And if you have an emergency, you can pull out of that $20,000 as opposed to cashing out early on some of your stocks. That's one of the reasons why it is important for you to have you an emergency fund. You also want to have you an emergency fund just because of what happened with COVID. For those of you that missed 6 months of work and you didn't have an income, if you had an emergency fund that would cover 6 to 12 months worth of unemployment, you would have a decent blanket of safety that could help you generate more revenue. On the other hand, those of you who were investing in large quantities of stocks when the stock market crashed because of COVID, you have to know how to pull your money out before the stock market crashes so that you're not losing out on all of your investment portfolio. You want to make sure that you're paying attention to what's going on. You're hearing people starting to lose their jobs. You're hearing businesses are starting to close down. If you were listening to that, you should have took your money out in the beginning and sat on it and said, let me just leave it. Let me just leave it off to the side and let the stock market do its thing. And then once the stock market hits the bottom, then I'm going to put my money back because the only thing it's going to do is go up from here.